Now, I'm psyched. I mean, you can just tell I'm all ready. So, to celebrate the occasion, let's pop this fucker in. Raiders of the Lost Ark on Atari 2600.
The first thing that happens, you see Indiana Jones descending from some kind of escalator, and then nothing. You try every button, and by every button I mean one. You rock the joystick all around, you flick every possible switch, and nothing happens. Is the game broken, or did I already find the Ark, and that's the end of the game? Pretty easy, I must say. But guess what? You're supposed to plug the controller into the second port. Now the game begins and you can move Indy. Yeah, isn't that weird? But even more fucked up, you need two controllers to play the game. Controller 1 selects items with the joystick and drops items with the button. Controller 2 moves Indy with the joystick and uses items with the button. Once you figure that out, you think you're all set, but no, the confusion has only begun. You wander around the marketplace, yeah, that's what it is, but you never know that unless you read about it. You collect items from baskets. Now, let me show you. This is the gun. Makes sense, right? You see the little bullet flying out? Now, let me show you the whip. This is the whip. It's the same as the gun, just a shorter range. Why is it just a dot? I know the graphics on the Atari are limited, but don't tell me you can't draw a line. So after leaving this innocent marketplace, you end up falling, and then there's some tall, crazy guy in black chasing you around. Who is he? What is he? Is he from the movie? Could it be him? I don't know. But you walk all the way to the bottom with this guy pestering you only to find a dead end. So you go all the way back up to the top, which just brings you back to the marketplace. There's nowhere left to go but back up where you started. But there's snakes on the edge of the screen just waiting for you, so it's impossible to go up without getting killed. Fucking snakes, I hate them. But here's what you can do. Go to the merchant, select the bag of gold, and drop it, which exchanges it for the flute. When you have the flute selected, it plays a tune which keeps the snakes from killing you. That's a lot of faith to put in the gamer for you to know that this is a merchant, that's a bag of gold, that's a flute, and you use it to keep snakes away. But anyway, you'll find that you can't go anywhere beyond these 3 screens. You'll explore every last corner and exhaust every possibility of where you're supposed to go. But guess what? See this thing? That's a grenade. You put the grenade next to the right-hand wall, you leave the screen, then you come back, and there's a nice big hole in the wall. Okay, first of all, you'd have to know how to use the grenade. You can't drop it like we did with the bag of gold. You got to use the right controller. Otherwise, the bomb just goes away and nothing happens. So dropping it isn't the same as activating it. But besides, how would you know to bomb a hole in the wall? Even in a Zelda game, there's usually some sort of clue. But here, there's nothing. So you go through the caves, you collect all kinds of weird items, you can't even tell what they are. You end up in some sort of trap. You have to whip your way through the walls, which is easier said than done. And then you come out, and then you find that you can't touch the walls in this room. If even a single pixel of your body comes in contact with any of these walls, it sends you back in the trap. But still, where do you go? You're supposed to touch this one spot on the wall which leads you to the next room. Well, after knowing that you can't touch anything else in the room, why the fuck would you even consider trying to go through the wall? Is there ever such a thing as a door? Also, in order to access certain parts of the game, it depends on how you move to the next screen. Here, we've already seen that when you go down like normal, you fall and end up in this weird place they call the Valley of Poison. But if you gently, carefully just ease your way down, it takes you to a whole different screen. Then there's a weird treasure room where you have to keep swapping items. You leave the room, you come back into the room, you drop this, pick up that, swap this, exchange that, till finally you get all the items you need. Of course, each item is just trial and error to figure out what they do and where in the game you use them. Like the hourglass or the ankh, you use them to summon a little dot that bounces around. It's supposed to be a grappling hook. You hit the right controller button and time it when the dot goes over an island. Then you'll appear on that island. You'd expect Indiana Jones to use a whip to swing across, but not an hourglass that turns into a grappling hook. By this point, I also really have to say, using 2 controllers is a pain in the ass. Unless you're Goro. I'd recommend 2 sets of hands or 2 players. Then you get to this part where you need to stand in a certain place for this map to appear. Ooh, like in the movie. You need to select the key to enter. You need the clock to tell you when the sun is rising. You need the medallion so the sun can shine at the right time and mark the spot on the map where you have to find a shovel to dig for the Ark.
Wow. How complicated can it be for an Atari game? Let alone that this is one of the few Atari games that you can actually beat, whereas most of them are just about trying to get a high score. And when I say it can be beat, that's hypothetical, because honestly, I think it'd be easier to find the real Lost Ark. Just the fact that you have to feel around for secret passageways and stuff, it makes you feel like Indiana Jones. Well, they got me there.